Today I have a really important update to share with anybody who's considering buying a home right now. There's a lot going on in the marketplace, and I just want to update you on the driving factors between what's going on with interest rates, mortgage lending, real estate, and a recession. So let's jump right into it. I'm going to share my screen here so that we can take a look at what's going on in the marketplace. Now, inflation is a big buzzword. We've got inflation over 8% now as measured by the CPI's Consumer Price Index. And while it might peak temporarily over the summer months, we do see the Fed's actions in raising rates to pull that back a little bit as we get into the fall. Remember this, inflation is the arch enemy of interest rates because a receiver of mortgage payments typically is receiving a fixed payment over time. And because of inflation, they experience a weakening in their buying power. And as you know, inflation makes things cost more. The only way to combat inflation for these investors is to offer higher interest rates to the market to make up for that erosion. So with inflation, there's a lot of talk about the Fed as well. We anticipate the Fed continuing to raise rates throughout the year. And counterintuitively, what a lot of people believe, when the Fed does raise interest rates, it doesn't mean a bad thing for mortgage rates. Inflation responds to Fed rate hikes and often causes mortgage rates to get lower historically. So they often will go down when we do see the Fed go through a rate hike cycle. But then there's the wild card in our situation today, and that's the Fed's balance sheet. The Fed has amassed like a $9 trillion balance sheet between mortgage bonds and treasuries, and they said they're going to allow it to start running off, which just means they're going to stop their purchases and not continue investing any securities that have matured. The next big buzzword is recession. We've been talking about this since last year, and we believe it's still on the horizon, maybe late 22, early 23. So as homeowners and home buyers, you want to know what this means to you when it comes to interest rates and housing values. So we're going to take a look at that right now. First, let's take a look at the Fed and do a quick recap. Each time in history when the Fed raised rates, we can see a response from the economy and mortgage rates go down. In the late 70s, Arthur Burns was the Fed chair, and we watched inflation go from 7 to 14%, and as a result, mortgage rates went from 12 to 18%. Paul Volcker came in and took the Fed funds rate already at 11 to 20% within 2 years. It slowed the economy down enough for inflation to go way, way down, and because it dropped, mortgage rates went down as well. It happened again under Alan Greenspan. He saw inflation rise, and as a result, mortgage rates rose. He took the Fed funds rate up almost 2% within a year and slowed the economy down enough to where inflation dropped. Because inflation dropped, mortgage rates dropped. They went down from 8.5% to 5.5%. Our guy today, Jerome Powell, he's seeing inflation go from 1.5% to over 8.5%. Mortgage rates also have gone from 2.5% to well over 5%. Economists believe that the Fed will take the Fed funds rate this year up to 3.4% by the end of 2022. This should cause inflation to drop and mortgage rates as well. So think about it. As the Fed hikes rates and slows the economy, inflation gets killed. Mortgage rates also decline. So there's clearly a pattern here. As part of this pattern, there's almost always a recession at the same time. We think it's unavoidable at this time. Another indicator we want to watch out for is the unemployment rate. This one's a really good one. When the unemployment rate reaches its lowest level and it begins to rise again, often there's a recession that follows. So as you go back all the way to the 40s, the unemployment rate dropped to its lowest level and we started to see a recession as it started to rise again. It happened again and again and again. Every time with 100% accuracy, when unemployment starts to tick back up, we see a recession coming. So right now we have very low unemployment again, and while it may go a little bit lower, when we start to see it move up again later in the year, when the rate hikes begin to take hold and the economy slows down, history tells us we're going to see a recession again. What does that mean when we go into recession with respect to interest rates and real estate? With interest rates, we very consistently see drops in interest rates when we do go into recessionary periods. For real estate, many think values are going to get worse when you get into recession, but that's not exactly true. As we look at history over time, in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, historically, every time we've had a recession, prices did very well afterwards. The one anomaly you can see here is the housing bubble. This is where the housing bubble and bad mortgage lending caused the recession. It wasn't the other way around. We believe that the housing market today is much stronger. We have historically low inventory and very high demand, many more household formations today, along with a much stronger oversight in mortgage lending. So in summary, it's still a great time to buy because while you can refinance a mortgage you get today to lower rates in the future, you can't do that with home prices. You can't go back and get the prices up today if you wait into the future. So for housing and mortgage rates, the future looks very bright. I hope this helped you. Please reach out to me if I can help you in any other way. Take care.